everybody, welcome back to Cindy's Crochet Corner. I'm Cindy, and today I'm going to teach you how to do the double crochet stitch. The double crochet stitch is a great stitch. It's a tall stitch. It's taller than the half double crochet and much taller than the single crochet stitch. And in the last two videos, I showed you how to do the single crochet and how to do the half double crochet. And today we're going to be working on the double crochet stitch. So let's get started. To start with, we're going to use a slip knot to get the yarn on the hook, and then we're going to chain 13. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And if you don't know how to make a slip knot in a chain, you can check out my first and second tutorial. I explain how to hold the hook and the yarn and how to create a chain stitch. I want 10 stitches. The reason I crocheted 13 chains is because we're going to skip the first 3 chains on the hook. The reason we're going to do that is because since the double crochet is a taller stitch, we want to create length here when we begin. So whatever length you want your project, you're going to crochet to that length and then crochet 3 chains more when you start. If you recall, if you watched my other videos, with the single crochet, you chain 1 extra stitch than you want the length of your project to be. And for the half double crochet, you crochet 2 chains longer than you want your project to be. And for the double crochet, you're going to crochet 3 stitches longer than you want your initial project. So we're going to skip 3. 1, that's the one that your hook is attached to. 2, 3, and then we're going to put our thumb on that 4th chain so we remember where it's at. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook into that 4th chain, yarn over, pull up a loop just as we did for the half double crochet stitch, and this is where the double crochet stitch differs from the half double crochet. If you recall from my previous video, if you watched it, in the half double crochet we yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. With the double crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the remainder 2 loops, and that's where the double crochet comes from. Let's watch that again. Yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops. That's the double crochet stitch. It's fairly simple. Once you get used to it, you'll get used to reading patterns, you'll understand that the double crochet stitch is in many projects. I'll go ahead and crochet to the end of this row, and if you need to, you can pause the video until you get to the end of your row. And once we get to the end of our row, we're going to chain 3. You always chain 3 before you turn your project with double crochet. And again, the reason why we're chaining 3 is because the double crochet stitch is a longer stitch, so you want to start at the same height as your initial stitch. So we chain 3, and instead of going into this first stitch here, you want to skip the first stitch that the chain is connected to. This first chain is considered your first stitch of the next row. And I'm going to undo that because I see that I kind of crocheted that. I'm a tight crocheter, and so I crocheted that chain fairly tight. So if you can crochet your turning chain sort of loose, it will help in the long run, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So we're going to skip this first stitch that the chain is connected to, and you're going to go over into this second stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull that up, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops. And then you're going to do that all the way to the end and then I'll show you what to do at the end of the second row. And again, just like our previous videos, you're going to go through both of the loops on the top. 2 loops there, and you want to go through both of them. And you want to crochet all the way to the end. And anytime you can pause the video while you get your crochet to the end of the project. Now for the second row, once you reach the end, you're not going to go into this chain here. You're beginning 3 chains. You're not going to go into those. You're going to stop at that last double crochet. And then you're going to turn, you're going to chain 3 again. At the end of every row, if you're doing rows, you will chain 3. Again, you're going to skip that first stitch and go into the second stitch, and then you're going to double crochet all the way back. And the reason I'm showing you all 3 of these rows is because you do something different at the end of the second row and at the end of the third row. Anytime you come back and there's a turning chain, you're going to crochet into that turning chain. The turning chain is considered the first row of the first stitch of the next row, and so you will crochet into it. So now I'm at the end of all of my double crochet stitches, but I still have this turning chain. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go into the top of that turning chain. Now this can be a bit tricky, and this is why I tried to crochet this loosely, because if you crochet it tightly, it's hard to get into both loops, because you can just go through that one loop, but then it makes it kind of makes it look strange there at the end. So just like our other stitches, there are 2 loops in this turning chain as well that you want to go through, and you just have to kind of maneuver your hook in there until you get through both loops, and that's very tight. So the looser you can crochet that, the better. I'm a tight crocheter, and so that sometimes dooms me in the long run. Although tight crochet stitches look nice, if you can't get your hook through the stitch, it's not very good. So I made it through there. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And turn. Now we should have 10 stitches on our hook at this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the turning chain is 10. You can count like we did on the half double crochet and the single crochet. You can count your stitches by the loops on the top, by the chains on the top, or since it is a larger stitch, a longer stitch, you can count the posts. So this is called a post. The stitch that actually you have created is considered a post stitch. So you can count the loops on top, or you can count each post, and that will tell you how many stitches you have in the row. And by doing this, you'll create a straight edge. If for some reason you miss that crocheting into that turning chain, your project will start going at an angle. If you find that your project is going at an angle in either direction, then you need to frog out, pull that row out, and count your stitches. And if you can't figure out where you missed a stitch, you may have to pull out several rows until you find out, oh, there's the stitch I missed, and then start over. It's just part of the learning process. Even advanced crocheters have that happen, and it's frustrating, but it does happen. And that's why it's always important to count your stitches. So from here, you just do the same thing back and forth until you get the length that you want. The great thing about the double crochet stitch is since it is a longer stitch, your project works up more quickly. So if you're doing a larger project like an afghan or a bedspread or a throw, then you will get a lot further along than if you were doing all single crochet stitches. I also wanted to point out that this stitch, if you're looking at patterns and you want to read patterns, it is abbreviated D as in dog, C. So DC is the abbreviation for double crochet. So if you see that in a pattern, it means you need to double crochet. The half double crochet stitch is abbreviated HDC, and the single crochet stitch is abbreviated SC. And I will be doing a video tutorial on how to read patterns and what the abbreviations for each stitch are. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If it helped you and if you like it and you want to see more of my tutorials, please hit the like button and please subscribe, and we will see you in our next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.